The Young and the Restless spoilers. 3 Phyllis reboot shockers. New direction after giving up. Newman for years, Phyllis Summers has thrived on chaos. Whether she was plotting revenge, chasing power, or fighting for the people she loves, she has rarely chosen the easy path. But after one devastating setback after another, the fiery redhead may finally realize that her latest obsession with Newman Enterprises isn't worth sacrificing what's left of her future. Imagine a storyline where Phyllis makes the shocking decision to walk away from the Newman drama completely. Instead of plotting against Victor Newman or trying to prove herself to everyone in Genoa City, she reinvents herself in 3 unexpected ways that nobody sees coming. Could this be the biggest reboot Phyllis has ever experienced? Let's dive into 3 game-changing possibilities that could completely transform her future. Shocker number 1. Phyllis builds her own empire instead of fighting Victor. For months, Phyllis has convinced herself that beating Victor Newman is the only way to prove her worth. Every setback has pushed her into another risky alliance, another dangerous plan, and another emotional confrontation. But what if she suddenly reaches a breaking point? After yet another failed attempt to gain influence inside Newman territory, Phyllis wakes up to an uncomfortable truth. Victor isn't just her rival, he's become an obsession. Lauren Fenmore notices the change first. Instead of seeing the confident woman she once admired, Lauren sees someone constantly reacting to Victor's moves. "You've stopped living your own life," Lauren quietly tells her longtime friend. The words sting. Phyllis initially dismisses them, but they continue echoing in her mind. Later, Daniel reaches the same conclusion. "Mom, you're spending all your energy trying to destroy someone who isn't even thinking about you." That conversation changes everything. Instead of plotting revenge, Phyllis begins asking herself a different question. What do I actually want? The answer surprises even her. She wants independence. She wants success that belongs entirely to her. She wants to create something no one can take away. Within weeks, she quietly begins assembling a business plan. Rather than competing with Newman Enterprises directly, Phyllis launches an innovative technology consulting company that specializes in helping struggling businesses modernize their operations. It's exactly the kind of challenge she excels at. She recruits young programmers, experienced analysts, and creative entrepreneurs who have been overlooked by Genoa City's corporate giants. Everyone assumes she'll fail. Victor barely reacts. Jack Abbott is cautiously supportive. Billy Abbott thinks she's chasing another impossible dream. But Phyllis doesn't care anymore. For the first time in years, she isn't motivated by revenge. She's motivated by purpose. Months later, her company lands several high-profile clients. Suddenly, investors begin taking notice. Even Victor quietly admits that she's become far more dangerous by ignoring him than she ever was while trying to fight him. Shocker number 2. A surprising partnership changes everything. Just when Phyllis believes she's finally comfortable being alone, an unexpected opportunity arrives. Instead of another romance, she discovers an unlikely business partner. The twist? It's someone she once considered an enemy. Perhaps Sally Spectra, perhaps Audra Charles, perhaps even Diane Jenkins under extraordinary circumstances. Whoever it is, their partnership shocks the entire city. Nobody believes 2 women with complicated histories can work together. Yet they quickly realize they share one important goal. They're tired of living under the shadow of Genoa City's powerful families. Together they develop fresh ideas, challenge outdated business traditions, and create opportunities for people who have always been ignored. The partnership isn't easy. Arguments become frequent. Old betrayals resurface. Trust is constantly tested. But unlike previous rivalries, this one evolves into mutual respect. Phyllis slowly learns something she's struggled with for years. Leadership isn't about controlling everyone. It's about inspiring them. Employees begin describing her differently. Not manipulative, not unpredictable, visionary. That single word means more to Phyllis than she ever expected. For once, People admire her because of what she creates, not because they're afraid of what she'll do next. Even Summer notices the difference. "You actually seem happy." Phyllis smiles. "I think I finally am." Their repaired relationship becomes one of the emotional highlights of the story. Instead of constantly apologizing for new mistakes, Phyllis starts making memories with her daughter again. Family dinners become normal. Holiday celebrations become peaceful. Daniel also notices his mother's transformation. She's listening instead of arguing, supporting instead of controlling, encouraging instead of manipulating. It's almost like meeting a completely different person. Shocker number 3, Phyllis faces her greatest challenge. Yet just when everything finally appears perfect, fate delivers one final test. A mysterious investor offers to purchase controlling interest in Phyllis's growing company. The offer is enormous. Financially, she'd never need to work again. Everyone tells her to accept. Lauren thinks it's smart. Michael Baldwin calls it life-changing. Even Daniel encourages her to consider it. Then comes the shocking revelation. The anonymous buyer is secretly connected to Victor Newman. Old Phyllis would immediately assume this is another trap. She'd launch an investigation. She'd accuse Victor publicly. She'd declare war. But the new Phyllis reacts differently. Instead of anger, she requests a private meeting. Victor arrives expecting fireworks. Instead, Phyllis calmly thanks him. Victor looks confused. "You've spent years trying to beat me," he says. "I know," Phyllis replies. "I finally realized I don't have to." Victor studies her carefully. "So you've surrendered?" She smiles. "No. I've moved on." Those 3 words completely shift the balance between them. Victor suddenly realizes something important. He can defeat enemies. He can outmaneuver competitors. But he can't control someone who no longer needs his approval. For perhaps the first time in years, Victor genuinely respects Phyllis. Not because she won, not because she lost, because she changed. The business deal ultimately collapses, not because of conflict, but because Phyllis refuses to sell something she's only just begun building. She chooses long-term purpose over short-term riches. It's a decision nobody expected from her, least of all herself. A new beginning. As months pass, Genoa City begins seeing a completely different version of Phyllis Summers. She's still witty, still fearless, still capable of delivering razor-sharp comebacks. But the desperation is gone. The constant need for revenge has disappeared. Instead of chasing old battles, she's creating new opportunities. Her relationships with Summer and Daniel continue healing. Lauren becomes her closest confidant again. Even Jack finds himself admiring her growth from afar. Whether romance eventually returns to her life hardly matters anymore. For the first time in years, Phyllis isn't defined by the man she's fighting or the company she's trying to conquer. She's defined by the life she has chosen to build. Final thoughts. If The Young and the Restless ever decides to give Phyllis Summers a genuine reboot, abandoning the endless Newman obsession could be the smartest move the writers make. Watching her build something of her own, repair damaged family bonds, and discover confidence that doesn't depend on defeating Victor would offer fresh emotional depth while staying true to her resilient spirit. Of course, this is a fan fiction-style speculative storyline, not an official spoiler. But if these 3 shockers unfolded, they could launch one of the most compelling new chapters Phyllis has had in years, proving that sometimes the biggest victory isn't defeating your rival, but finally finding a future beyond them.